Hello folks, Rodrigo here with another amazing video on how to do some engineering stuff. So you ran an experiment. Let's say this is I think 3 blades, 6 inches at 45 degrees, and what you did was file export as CSV, and you put it in a folder on the desktop. Okay, I'm not going to resave it, but you have a folder on a desktop right here where it says 6 inches, 3 blades, 45 degrees. And so you save it like that. You export it and you save it like that. And you're going to do 3 of these. One at 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees. So you have 3 of these files. All right. This is a CSV file. And when you open it, it's automatically going to open up an Excel file. And it's got a lot of information on there that I found. First of all, let's stretch some of these columns out. I'm going to highlight, left click with the mouse, and just make them a little bit bigger so I can see everything. Okay. What I want to do is I want to see the power. I want to see at what resistance was the highest power. As you know, we changed the resistance. We turned the dial and increased the resistance, and the power should have changed. And a great way to see data is with a graph. All right, so instead of me like flipping down and be like, oh, what's the highest number here? I could look at that, but also a great way to see it is with a graph. All right, so I'm going to highlight these two, and I'm going to insert. I clicked on insert, and let's do an XY scatter, which just plots this point as an X and that point as a Y. And it plots all of them. Well, that's cool. You see a general trend line here. A couple notes: if you have a lot of data in the negative side, you can take that out. One thing you could do is right click on the axis and format axis, and you can have your minimum start at 0. Okay, because you shouldn't have negative power and you shouldn't have negative resistance. So if some of you did have negative power, negative resistance, then go to format axis and have it start at 0. And in this case, it's going to 18, which seems pretty good. I have this point up here. That's probably I could probably get rid of that point. That's probably an outlier, but that's okay. I think in the resistance, though, it's only supposed to go up to 200, but it shot up a few moments. So I'm going to have this just go to format axis. I know it was only 200, but I'm going to have it go to about 450. I want to see most of the graph, so I'm going to put 450 right here and put enter, and it's going to stretch things out a little bit. All right, great. The other thing I want to do is I want to change this right here. I'm going to change the title to, let's see, 6 inch 3 blades 45. You could put D for degrees. And that's gonna, and you can leave power on there. Okay, so this is gonna show us what we are doing, what graph this is. All right, cool. I'm also gonna want to label the horizontal axis. So I'm going to under design right here. I think if I click on it and under design, chart tools design, and I click on add chart element. If I add an axis title, I can add a horizontal one and a vertical one. I'm going to add both. And this one is basically resistance in ohms, parentheses, ohms. Okay, cool. And I'm going to add a vertical, and this is power. Power in milliwatts. You kind of got to write sideways. Okay, cool. Now, there's obviously kind of a little trend where if there's little resistance, there's little power, and at right here is probably the most power. Maybe around 50 ohms is the most power, and then it drops down as you do that. So it would be cool if we had like a moving average, a line of best fit. And one way to do that is to right click on the data. So again, I'm just going to right click on the data and I'm going to add a trend line here. Now I've played around with this. Linear one is just going to do a straight line. So it starts at the top, goes down, but it kind of does drop down and it goes up. It does like a little loop. And the easiest one is probably a polynomial. And I would just put it to degree 6. That means it starts down and it's going to end down. Not sure if you remember this from Algebra 2, but if you have an odd one, it's going to start in one direction and end in the other direction. But an even one starts and ends. Like a second degree polynomial is a parabola. It starts down or it goes up like this. Okay, so an even number is going to start and end in the same direction. Okay, so that's kind of the moving average right there. And we are going to edit this because it's like a blue dash line. So if I go here to this little icon, fill in line, let's change it to something very visible, like let's say yellow. And then I don't want a dash line, I want a solid line. And that looks pretty good to me right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think there might be one other thing. I might actually make this trend line just a little bit thicker, maybe 2 points. That's pretty good. All right, at this point, we're going to put this graph in our Turnin sheet. And so as it says on your paper, go to, or maybe I don't think it does say on your paper, go to Unit 2 and wind turbine investigation. Here is the video that you're watching right here. And download the wind turbine performance template right here. All right, and you're going to open that up. Okay, click enable editing. And note, delete all comments highlighted like this one, because that means you need to put information in there like your name right here, period, assignment. This assignment is the same number as this one. Okay, so now you know. So you're going to delete all stuff that's highlighted, and you will input other stuff. So describe number of blades. Right here, you could say stuff like our team was assigned X number of blades at this size, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Write the conditions, that you were in a room with a fan, etc. This is very short, but you're going to write at least a couple sentences, 2 or 3 sentences describing the conditions. Assume that no one saw this. So what were the conditions? Was this outside? Okay, no, it was actually a room with a fan. All right, and then you're going to put the graph number 1. I guess this is probably be 30 degrees, so we would do 45 degrees right here. So we would right here put, let me delete this. So we're going to do a graph, 3 blades at 45 degrees and 6 inches. Okay, so you put that in there, unhighlight it. All right, learning how to use Word is very useful. So unhighlight it, go right here, then actually you can just unhighlight it right here and then put no color. And we're going to just simply copy and paste our graph. This is the one I was working on. Just copy right here and then right click, copy, and then go to the Word doc and right click, paste, see what it looks like. That looks cool. Okay, I'm going to move this over. I'm going to wrap text. Let's do square. If you wrap a square, you're able to move it around. And there's one thing I want to do. I want to find out what this value is right here. So let's go back to the Excel spreadsheet. I have a lot of them open. This is it right here. And how can I find that max power? What is that max power? So one thing I can do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, is I can actually, if you click on one of these points, it'll tell you the value of that point. So for example, I click on that point, it says 187 is the ohms and 8.032 is the power. So I'm just going to find a point near it, and like this one right here, that would work. And so we got 46.9 ohms at 10.8 milliwatts. Let's go ahead and write that down because that is basically your max power. And let's just go to the tenths. So we got 46.9 ohms and 10.8 milliwatts. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our paper here, and let's say max power of 10.8 milliwatts at 46.9 ohms. Okay, so just gonna write that down. And one thing we can do is we can insert a little, I think this is kind of cool, we're gonna insert a little arrow to what it is. We'll go to insert, shape, click an arrow here, and just from here, just draw an arrow to the top of the graph. And I did that. I'm going to right click on this, and let's see here. Let's do no, come on. I'm going to click on it, left click, right click, and then format shape. And I just want to make this, I don't know, something that stands out and a little bit more width. Okay. So here we have the data at that point right there, 10.8 milliwatts at 46.9 ohms. You're going to have 3 of these graphs, 1, 2, 3, okay? And of course, you're going to fill out this information. You're going to delete everything highlighted in yellow or write your information on there. And the final thing you're going to do is you're going to input the whole class data, all right? So you did this. This is the video right here. This is the template. That's individual. That's individual work. Okay. You're not going to copy anybody else's work. And then the whole class data, one person from your team can input this. And so let's see. This was 6 inches, 3 blades, and let's see if no, it's 45 degrees, 6 inches, 3 blades, and we got 10.8. 10.8. All right. So you should input for 6 inches. I believe this team would also have 3 blades at 30 degrees. So this team will input something here. I'll highlight it. This team will input something here, here, and here. Okay. And these graphs are pre-made, so it'll graph it for us. You will also go down here and input the max resistance. And in this one, or the ideal resistance. The ideal resistance to maximize power for us was 46.9. Okay. So we're just going to put 46.9 ohms is the ideal resistance for us to do that. All right. All right. That should be it. You can do the work now. And you got any questions? I will be around to help you out. Thanks for watching.